Welcome back to Ask a Lawyer. I'm your host, Lindy McDonald. We have tonight as a guest Hugo Choquette. He's an adjunct professor from Queen's who specializes in constitutional law, including Aboriginal law and also law and language. Welcome to the show, Hugo.
Thank you very much for having me.
Just before the break, you and I were discussing the question from our dear friend Lou Brunswick, who lent $2,000 to his friend to start a bowling league, and his friend never started the bowling league. We talked a bit about how this could constitute breach of contract, even though there's no written contract. That doesn't matter. It can still constitute breach of contract. You mentioned how one thing to be aware of is that it would have to be a contract in order for there to be breach of contract. But we were going to discuss just a few more things before we moved on to a second question we got. But in terms of Lou's question, I wanted to maybe just throw out the idea too that if there's no breach of contract per se, Lou could always have a recourse under unjust enrichment, which is a doctrine under common law that basically says that if you give something to someone and they benefit from it and it's to your detriment, you can get it back even though there's not necessarily found to be a contract there per se.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
And you were suggesting that maybe small claims court would be the place to do this?
I would think so, yes. For this, I can't remember the exact money amount, but it would...
$2,000, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because it's under the $25,000 limit, you'd want to go to small claims court.
That's right, yeah.
And you were saying rather than simply start a lawsuit right away, you might want to ask the friend or explain to the friend that you need the money back, and then if he or she says no, I was suggesting that perhaps you'd send a demand letter, which is a letter usually from a lawyer that says, give us A, B, and C before such and such a date, failing which we're going to sue you, and then you wait until that deadline passes, and that's it. So thank you again, Lou, for your question. That's a good one. It seems pretty straight ahead, but as we've shown, there can be all sorts of different elements to it too.
Well, I should point out too, it would partly depend on the evidentiary record as well, because it would depend on the conversation that happened between the two people. You know, if it was I'm thinking of starting a bowling league, and then here's some money to start it. So, you know, the whole issue of offer and acceptance would also come into play here. I think, so without more information, it's hard to tell. But it sounds from the description like it would be.
But even then, there could be that idea of unjust enrichment too.
Absolutely, yes, yeah, that's right.
Could be the basis for it. But those are all interesting ideas. And as you said, evidentiary, he's got his friend who witnessed this deal.
That's right, yes.
So he has that going for him. But then the credibility of the friend might be at issue. Absolutely, because he's friends with Lou, right?
Exactly, yeah.
To prove, you'd have to prove to a court that the money certainly was transferred, which would probably boil down to a question of credibility, whether the judge believes the friend and Lou or the person who received the monies. We have a question here that I believe is family law oriented.